I mean, listen, it's only right. It's only right for them to make the remaster, the Scarface, the world is yours. It's only right for them to remake that. It's a high demand for next gen for them to drop this on next gen for the PlayStation 5, Xbox, and Xbox Series X and S. This is only right because Scarface, the potential a potential release and remaster of this 2006 cult classic, Scarface, The World Is Yours. Um, this is something that I feel that's been kind of long overdue, but at the same time, with the budgeting and the money to make these games, it's not like a walk in the park. Like people just wake up and just say, "Okay, I'm gonna make this game." It's not like what it was in the early 2000s where we just had games galore. I mean, we in a really tough economic time right now, and a lot of people are losing jobs. A lot of game developers and development teams being laid off, and that's why when you say you want to make video games, you better hope that you got more than just that in mind. Because right now it's really crazy in times to want to develop and make your own video game, and that being your one and only occupation. In other words, your one and only job that you have that you want to do. But Scarface, The World Is Yours is an open world game that allows you to pretty much do anything you want, take on the missions of, playing the characters Al Pacino and pretty much just, taking the world into your own oyster, into your own palms and your own hands. And this thing I feel like will have a lot of people anticipating, such thing to be, put out and dropped because it was supposed to be, if I'm not mistaken, last year when they were saying something about, creating a buzz with, the remake of this Scarface game. Because it was planned, like I said, as I reiterate, for 2025, to have like the official, polished, release date of that being. But it was saying that, it was only supposed to be for Steam, but yet, that's still kind of awaiting. That's still pending, with developer efforts. It kind of like accelerating to trying to finalize it. So the original game, again, open world, cult classic, crime title, similar to GTA, that kind of like acts, as in, an alternate reality sequel, where we have Tony Montana, as we are all know, Al Pacino, surviving the movie's climax. So, it also like, involves with building, criminal empire and taking it to the next level and just, making it becoming as big as it could become with having like nonstop action and just pretty much just taking the game and just making and creating your own, you know, fun at the same time, having the fun along with all the action that you want to have, with these missions, within the missions, it's really like an unlimited, feel and experience as a gamer, as a, when you're playing a shooters first, type video game, similar to the, classics, like as if, we're talking about 007, GTA, as I just stated. This right here is something that will look so beautifully done. You bringing that to current gen. Just think about the remaster of the, you know, Scarface, The World Is Yours, like under current gen graphics. Think about think about that. And how much fun and how polished it would look and how much more fun and more, you know, they would add to it by it being on the current gen. This is why I feel like remasters are important when it comes down to certain games because you got to think about the the fun and that you will bring along as far as like with excitement within the game. It's going to be a little amped up by it being on a different console. So you got that being times two as far as the fun and excitement availability that will be provided to you. But we also have the graphics that will be also you know enhanced. In other words, upgraded to another level by it being on a current gen. So it's going to feel new, like a new feel, but with more action. More action provided with along great, fantastic of graphics that we will be provided along with that when we're talking about a Scarface game. So 2006 has been, you know, a long time. And like I said, this is like something that's been long overdue for you talking about a remaster. But a lot of these teams that we were making, have made, the 2006, version of the Scarface, The World Is Yours. A lot of them still are not there anymore. You got to think about a lot of people are doing other things. They, stop making, some of them may have stopped making video games. So when you got that, when they start making, a lot of the team members are no longer there and are doing other things with their life. As far as like, think about the family and, a lot of things, a lot of personal situations, have occurred along the time from 2006 until now. So, I mean, a remaster don't seem far-fetched at all. And I feel like a remaster would be great, but you have to have a team. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to have a team to be able to make a masterpiece, a team that gets it, a team that understands what comes with making an action-packed type video game as a Scarface. That's why I feel like Japanese developers, game developers are very important, because what people have to understand, when have Japanese game developers ever dropped the ball? Honestly, when it comes down to making a great action shooters type video game or wrestling game, when have they ever dropped the ball? It's always been excitement and always been unlimited amount of fun that you can have, and there wasn't no restrictions. And that was the beauty of a THQ that used to make wrestling games, the beauty of a Yuke's development team that making wrestling games, help making these wrestling games. And to take alongside with NBA Street Volume 2. When we have game development teams back then in 2000, in the 2000 era, and on top of that with, shooters game like 007, we got Capcom still killing things and making great quality and great substance of video games, cinematic wise, story wise, and all that. They did a great job with the new Resident Evil 9 Requiem, one of the best game of this year so far. So when you got to think about that, I mean, we don't have a lot of Capcoms. We don't have a lot of the, development team that gets it. So when you have something like that, when you're limited on top of that, or if you mix with a team that don't get it, you can't just, put out anything when you have that lackluster of a, completion. You have to have that chemistry. With WWE 2K nowadays, they don't even care, because when you have a game development team that doesn't care and all they care about is money, they're going to crumble and then crash. They're crashing before our very own eyes right now as we speak. When you have a team of people that do not care about what the fans think, they're going to crash and burn. And they slowly are doing that right now. And thank God that they are crashing and burning, because they've been disrespecting fans for since they came into the door. Like, since they came into the door and started making 2K games, they've been disrespecting and ignoring the fans and not giving us anything what we want, as far as like something as simple as a Road to WrestleMania season mode. To be able to have that freedom, that open world freedom, to go up stair steps at least. Things of that sort, just the small things, same backstage areas. But that's a whole nother video about a different game. But I'm comparing it because when you talk about a remaster, you can't expect to have the same, thing as far as with action. You can only just hope that you have more action on top of that because it's on current gen. But you have to also think about, and I'm just not thinking about, the team of people, the group of people that's in the development team. Everybody has to be on the same page and have to share that same passion. It's a must. It's a must, because if not, the game will not be a successful remaster. Because if you're talking about a remaster, you don't want to just polish everything up and have every single thing and every single detail to be the same. You want to add something different, at least. In order to add something different to be released on top of the remaster to make it feel new in some sense. As far as gameplay, you have to have somebody that share that same passion. And it's very hard nowadays because the competition is lackluster. But everybody don't have that same motivation as a Capcom. Because regardless of the competition or not, Capcom going to give you a great quality game. Regardless of the competition or not, Rockstar, which they take forever to put out GTA, But when they do drop it, it always be a great quality of a video game and one of the greatest to ever be made. So we can just only just hope that we have this remaster on set and on board, but we will see. But as far as, Scarface, the world is yours, I feel like the world will be ours and then we will be getting exactly what we want in the future sometime. Sensei Reality TV, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll let y'all later. One love. Peace.